It is a new day, and this is the start of episode 2 of Sora is Bad. I just loaded the recents page. That means that people who use Sora and generate videos, they end up on this page, so it's just a bunch of random stuff. These aren't cherry-picked. We can use these to look at what it does right, what it does wrong, look at the prompts that people use, any of the other features and tools that they use to generate these, and hopefully have a lot of fun along the way. So, starting out, let's see what we can find. Alright, let's take a look at this one. I can already see quite a few things not going quite right here. With any sort of fast movement, twirling around, stuff like that, Sora's going to have a rough time with it. Even with humans that it has been trained for, who even knows, hundreds of thousands of hours of video on. So as you can see, when this woman is twirling around on the beach, her front becomes her back becomes her front, arms kind of like are there and then they're missing. It's just a big mess. Their prompt, a girl, G-cup, beach, dancing, rain, tomato with leg. So one thing that we're finding is it knows what things are. There is a tomato, it is raining, there's a beach, and there's a girl. So it has all of those things, but once we get into the video part, the movement, it all falls apart. So that tomato with leg, I'm not sure what they actually wanted, but that is a tomato with legs, but it's just static. It's like somebody took a picture and put it on this video, and it's not really doing anything. We already talked about her issues, front becomes the back, limbs come and go. It's just a big mess. Now, I guess I can give Sora a little bit of leniency with this one because the prompt wasn't great. It didn't really say what they wanted. It just named a bunch of subjects. So Sora, with its internal library of visual context and how things work, probably didn't really know what to do with that, but still, it should have been something a little bit better than this. Next up, let's check this out. A high-tech unmanned outdoor rice agriculture planting. Rice has already matured and turned golden yellow. Technology can monitor the growth data of mature rice in real time. A drone patrols in the distance, and there's a small electronic screen, as well as an automatic sprinkler system. The electronic screen is placed in the middle and far view of the picture, and the screen, so blah blah blah. So we do have some screens down in the rice fields. They are kind of brown as requested. This sort of drone in the upper right is not looking quite right. I know sometimes propellers can look weird in video based on the frame rate, but that's just kind of like a weird flapping, wobbling thing. There's some text on there that doesn't make any sense. There's kind of like an arm below with two screens with stuff, and then that one floating to the left, almost like it's attached, but not quite. It knows what the user wants as far as what to include. It's Sora's job to make it look realistic, and this doesn't. This, is unusable for any sort of professional or commercial use. So that was number 2. Let's take a look at this one. I can already see a very, very common issue with Sora, and it looks like they used the cardboard world. After giving a command to the laptop, I ran out of the room and ran through the city to get in touch with nature and go to the house where my family was waiting for me. So that is a translation. There is a laptop there. There's somebody kind of running, but frequently when people are running, their feet don't match up with the ground. It's almost like a poorly made video game where the animation is going a certain speed, the ground is moving a certain speed, and they just kind of like skate on the top. So that's what's happening here. He is kind of humanoid looking, but if you look closely at the face, it's just a mess. It's not really well done. And like I said, I think that they used a built-in Sora filter to turn this into a cardboard world. And, as far as the scene, it looks okay. Just the movement is off and it's missing like half of the prompt of what they asked for. All right, that was number 3. Number 4, let's just take a look at this one right next to it and see what they wanted. A dog in a suit controls a fighter jet as it roams the galaxy. Okay, so it has a dog in a suit. It has not a fighter jet, but some kind of weird cockpit thing. It looks like it's from a 90s video game. And then some kind of galaxy-related background, I guess. Again, doesn't look that great. So the dog obviously is not controlling the fighter jet. It's just sitting there almost static other than the face looking around. The fighter jet is, moving around in comparison to the background, but again, it looks very unrealistic, not well done at all. The prompt was good enough that it should have had the dog piloting the spacecraft, but it doesn't. So that's a pretty big failure on Sora's part. Now let's look for number 5, and I'd really like to find people using tools like knives and forks or chopsticks or something like that, makeup brushes, because those are really bad too. If we go back to any sort of dancing around, and this is just a bonus one, I'm not counting this as number 5, the arms in the front and the back, they always just kind of warp around in and out of existence, stuff like that. It's so bad. We'll go with this one for number 5. So a dynamic 5-second video depicting an overworked lawyer in a modern and minimalist style. Show a lawyer sitting at a desk piled high with papers and files, looking visibly stressed and overwhelmed. In the background, include a clock with hands moving quickly to symbolize the pressure of time. Use smooth transitions and a clean professional aesthetic to convey the intensity of a busy lawyer's routine. So it looks like they could plausibly be a lawyer. There is a clock with the hands moving in the background and they're moving quickly. It kind of doubled that and put it so that that lamp up top also has clock hands for some reason. There is a stack of paper and files on the desk, so it got that. He's got a pen in his hand, but that pen is just kind of like writing across the desk, kind of just bumbling around, not doing anything important. Also, when he's putting his hand up to his face, it's like his thumb gets jammed in his eye. Maybe it's kind of folding over like that, but it doesn't look like it. So this has the idea. It has the subjects that they wanted, but the execution is poorly done. You could never actually use this in a commercial or anything like that. All right, for number 6, let's go over to this Coca-Cola tractor. Looks like they used a storyboard with a couple different prompts. They want a brightly lit New Year's scene. Features a colorful red tractor covered in sparkling lights, reminiscent of a Coca-Cola advertisement. The tractor is adorned with festive... So we're just going to skip this and get to the bad part. So it does look like a New Year's celebration. They have a tractor. The Coca-Cola logo is on it. It's not just inspired by that. But these wheels are just spinning, and they're spinning in opposite directions. The front left wheel is going forward, the front right wheel, like for the tractor's perspective, is off. These front lights, one is kind of on the front, one's on the side of the tractor, and even in the back, that one wheel, that back wheel, is spinning both ways at the same time. That's not even possible. And I've mentioned this before, but this looks like some kid just figured out how to use different GIFs and lay them, overlay them on each other to make some kind of animation, and that's about the quality this is. You could never use this professionally or in a commercial or anything like that, so it's basically another waste of credits for the person who generated it. All right, for number 7, let's take a look at this drone. So this is a remix of another video. In this one, they just wanted the company name on the drone to be changed. So let's look at the original one. That was a remix of another one. Let's go back again, go back again, go back again, go back again. So this was their first attempt, and every one of those generations that we just went through cost credits. Now they're probably on the unlimited plan, but still, after all those attempts, that's still time that they're spending trying to get this to make something that they can actually use. And in the end, I don't think they made, I'm sure that they didn't make it, and we'll go through this right now. So make a marketing video about Athero, a company that uses Skydio X10 quadcopter drones to inspect buildings. Now, one thing, if you mention an exact product, it might actually make something similar, but it's not going to be accurate, a type of car, whatever it is. So here they have Skydio innovating inspections. So text is messed up, as we expect. So they did their first remix. They said change the wording to say Athero instead of Sky Hero. Keep the tagline innovating inspections. Add a thermal sensor to the drone. Use the logo for Athero from that website. So it did update the text as they asked. I'm not sure about the logo. I'm not going to go to that website to look. The drone itself is kind of like hovering, and it doesn't have the right amount of propellers or arms, and they're kind of like hitting each other. Maybe that's an infrared camera on the bottom, and then it kind of just like gets absorbed into that building oddly. Again, with so many of these videos, the more you look, the more off the rails it goes. So that was their first strong remix. Let's see what they wanted for the second one. And that logo changed. Can already see that. Innovating in sections. So it did worse on the text, this remix. They said, make the drone a black quadcopter and remove the reflection of the drone in the glass. So it's not running into the building anymore. There's a different number of propellers. And again, they kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it goes down to 6, and they kind of morph in and out of existence as we expect from Sora. The logo changed, as mentioned, and the text is even worse this time. So they did another remix. They said, spell Athero correctly. Make the drone a quadcopter instead of an octocopter. Add a sensor gimbal to the middle of the drone. Spell innovating inspections correctly. So what did it do? It spelled it even worse. It left out that second tagline. It did make it black, and it does look like there's something hanging from the bottom. It looks like a camera. Maybe it is an infrared camera. But even still, the landing gear sort of thing and the arms on the bottom of the drone are still way off. So they did another strong remix. Spell Athero correctly. Add a tagline saying innovating inspections. Have the drone say the words Athero on the side. So the logo is still messed up. The text is still messed up. It didn't add the tagline. It kind of put it on the drone, but you can't really see it, and it's spelled wrong anyway. The drone itself kind of looks a little bit better, but it's still messed up on this side. It's like there's a propeller on the bottom, and then it kind of turns into a landing gear, and then it just turns into some weird piece of plastic. It's just a mess. They tried again, another strong remix. Changed the company name to be spelled Athero and changed nothing else. So now there is no text overlaying the screen. There is some on the drone, and it's still wrong. The landing gear is messed up. Again, it doesn't have the right number of arms. It starts with 5. One of them isn't even spinning. It is just a mess. So they tried to generate this 5+ times, and that's all that I know about right here. They've probably tried other generations as well, and none of them are usable. It's such a waste of credits. Let's look for number 8. And there we go. We found it. A white blonde woman walking in the desert. There's a small storm behind her, and she's walking towards pyramids. So it has a woman, it has a desert, it has pyramids. I'm not sure why there's a top and a bottom section here. That wasn't in the prompt, and I think Sora just decided to do it. She's walking backwards in the top. Her feet are not matching up with the ground movement. Her arms, you would think she's walking backwards, but the way her legs are moving and her knees are bending, she's kind of walking forward, but with her heels forward. So that is just a mess through and through. On the bottom, it's a little bit closer. Her feet still don't match up with the ground, but she is at least walking forward for herself, even though her back is still to the camera. There's a pyramid in the background, but at this point, we don't have the storm. So again, it knows the things that the people wanted in the prompt. It just does not execute them properly at all. Another very unusable clip for whoever generated it and wasted those credits. For number 9, let's check out this dog. A 34-year-old big eye dressing in red sweater Taiwanese woman opens a delicate Christmas gift box, and a white cute Samoyed baby pops up. The Taiwanese woman appeared surprised and exciting. So I'm guessing that this was translated, or English isn't their first language, but it still got a lot of the correct subjects. There is a woman in a wet red sweater, and the issue is that the dog is kind of warping through the box. So the top is on the box. All of a sudden the top disappears. Out pops this dog. It's super cute. And then it's kind of like jumping around and like phasing through the side of the box. And then for some reason a second one kind of pops up and jumps out. So again, it has all the subjects. It looks realistic as far as the image quality goes, but the movement is just nothing that would happen in our actual reality. All right, let's see what's going on here for number 9. This one says, medieval knights ready for war in the snow. Wow. Okay, so we have a bunch of people on horseback. A lot of them look pretty close to identical. There's nothing medieval about this at all. Not the horses, not the people, nothing. They're getting ready for war in the snow. And for whatever reason, it goes from one scene where they're in sand and they're kind of like trotting in place, they're not even trotting around, to being in the snow. Like it has those two things for some reason. Nothing looks like it's related to war in this at all. So that was a pretty big failure. So basically all Sora got right for this one is snow. Snow. It doesn't say anything about cavalry. The prompt doesn't say anything about horses even. Medieval knights ready for war in the snow. So I would expect to see either a few knights or an army of knights, maybe wearing some kind of medieval armor with weapons with snow. This has snow, and that's it. So another very, very bad failure, which by now you can probably tell they're not hard to find. For number 10, let's take a look at this. And this is something I have seen so many times. There should be so much footage for Sora to have trained on to know what it's like for a person, a human being, to type on a keyboard. She's just kind of randomly tapping the front part of that thing that looks kind of like a MacBook. The other thing next to her is like the bottom of a laptop with a monitor behind it. But hey, maybe there's some cool new computer I don't know about with that weird little thin keyboard randomly in front of it. Whatever she's doing on the computer, it doesn't look like it has anything to do with text, so the typing motion doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If she was using that trackpad, that would make a little bit more sense. But I've seen this so many times where somebody is typing and they're just like typing on the desk with a keyboard in front of them, or typing on one little corner of the keyboard that doesn't make any sense, rather than looking like a human being typing. It seems like that'd be a really easy thing to get right. And you know what? This time let's look for a bonus one. Rather than their recent page, I'm going to go to their featured page, which you would think are going to be the best of the best. And a lot of these they are better quality. It does show that Sora is capable of some good generations, but even on the featured page, it is still just riddled with issues. All right, here's a good enough example. The prompt is, I need a grandfather walking on the ground of Mars. He must be dressed in wrestling clothes. The soil must be desert. So it has that, I guess that looks like a grandpa with the white and the little beard goatee thing, dressed as a wrestler. Yep, that works. That looks like it could be a Mars desert, but he's walking and it's not even matching up with the ground, like not even kind of. And there's this part, let's see if I can go slowly. His right foot, our left, is coming forward, coming forward, coming forward. Then all of a sudden, right here, it becomes his left leg. It's crossed over in the front now. And now that's his left leg and his right leg is right there. It just kind of like came out from behind. So his feet switched legs randomly. With how long Sora was teased as a game changing, it's going to change the movie industry, it's going to change everything that we can believe on the internet, it's not there quite yet. So this has been episode 2 of Sora is Bad. We found a nice variety of issues that seems like it should do better with. Hopefully in the near future it will. I'm sure they have better quality video generation models behind the scenes. They just haven't made them public yet. But this just goes to show that even though Sora was supposed to be this big game changer, it's not there yet. So thanks for watching and come back for episode 3.